Hi, I'm Harry Baker. I'm a full-time poet and a recent maths graduate. I've always had a love of numbers, but I've never really had the ins and outs of money explained to me. So I'm here at the British Museum to talk to some experts. Hello, Ben.
Hello.
What is money? What makes it money?
It's a massive question. Money can be anything in reality, and the gallery talks about 4,500 years of monetary history. It's both an object in the form of you looking around here, you'll see lots of things that represent money, but it is also an idea. It's a mechanism, and it allows for trade between people.
I think of money in the economist terms as being a widely accepted medium of exchange. In other words, it's the good with which we can easily buy all other goods, which save us the huge transaction costs that we would otherwise have of bartering with each other.
We've created this abstract concept which has figures attached to it, and that's what money is. Now, if we didn't have that, we wouldn't be able to make the economy go round.
So I'm learning a bit more about what money actually is. Could I, for example, deposit an apple into my account?
No, sorry, Harry. Although an apple has a value, it goes rotten pretty quickly. Now, for money to be useful, it has to hold its value for a reasonable period of time. Economists call this store of value.
Okay, what about my favourite cuddly toy? It's always been there for me, thick and thin, never gone rotten.
Sorry, Harry, that won't work either. Because although it's of great value to you, it doesn't have the same value for other people. It must hold the same value for everybody. Economists call this medium of exchange.
Okay, well, what about my trainers? Everyone appreciates their value, they've not got rotten. Can I deposit those?
Imagine you wanted to buy something that was worth a quarter of your trainers. You couldn't cut your trainers in half and it still have a value. Economists call that unit of account.
We've got some old examples of coinage. What are these?
The oldest examples of coinage in the world. So this is 2,500 years old. It's an electrum coin, so it's an amalgam, a combination of gold and silver from Lydia, which is northwestern Turkey. And what we have here is a genuine idea that changes the world. So this is the exemplar, this is the beginnings of what we carry around in our pockets today. This is from China, and it's in the shape of a spade. Now, China makes early coinage in the shapes of knives and spades. It speaks to what's important in their society, so in terms of agriculture and warfare. Whilst they're different shapes, different sizes, they look different, but they're still fulfilling exactly the same role, which is to have a standardized coinage system that can be used over vast areas and can be trusted. So the money that we hold in our pockets today in terms of coins and banknotes has no intrinsic value. Yes. Whereas the stuff made of gold and silver is worth what it's made of. In fact, if it's stamped, so our money today has the head of the Queen on in the UK, and that gives us that idea that it is backed by something, that it is given a sense of trust.
So that was fascinating talking to Ben about money, about where it's from, the different forms it takes, and what we use it for. What interested me is that as well as being a physical thing, we talked about trust. And if we don't have trust in the system, or we don't believe it to be worth something, then it isn't worth anything. So how do people feel differently about money depending on how they come across it?
I think that if you earn money yourself, you're much more careful about what you want to do with it because you're quite protective. It's money that you've planned for and you want to see it build and grow. Whereas I think if you come across money unexpectedly, for example, if you win the lottery or if you find £10 on the floor or you have an extra £20 from your auntie for Christmas, you're much more likely to spend that money because you didn't necessarily expect it. And it's quite hard to say, I'll just put that into my savings account rather than enjoy it in the short term.
Money's been around for thousands of years. Though some things have changed, it has to take a form that we trust and agree on a fixed value. On a personal level, we can feel differently about money depending on how we receive it. It's important to be aware of how our emotions affect our money and the decisions that we make. In the next film, I'll be looking at credit and debt, so I hope you'll join me.